This is the sound of worlds beyond number.
Mountains grow small as they grow old. Time wears down the stone, and the more stories that a mountain has, the more hidden in earth and pine, lichen and moss, foliage, and the coming and goings of ancient glaciers, boulders dotting the rolling Shroud Mountains. One of the oldest mountain ranges in Umora, there are no craggy, towering peaks. Wind and rain has worn them down. The scars and wrinkles of the ancient mountain faces filled with alpine flowers, vines, and moss, covered by cloud, roiling, angry violet, almost with a shade of red to them. Storm clouds hover over this part of the world. The storm with a minor reddish hue, some pollution from the comings and goings of this place and time. Small, dotted fortresses. The Shroud Mountains have existed for such a long, long time that the ancient histories of Umora are written in stony ruins, watchtowers and fortresses of a different age fallen into much disrepair. What were once the signaling beacons or banner-flying ramparts of some ancient feudal dynasty are now way stops for traveling rangers or mountain shepherds chasing some lost ram or sheep that's gotten away from the pen. The landscape is beautiful and rugged and filled with the love and care and attention of the natural world. Hovering under the menacing clouds over the Shroud Mountains, we see a ship of black approaching through the sky. Slow, methodical, careful, hugging the bottom of the cloud line. The gondola of the Meridian, its central deck and cabins, peeks out from beneath the clouds enough to provide some visibility to the landscape below. Awaking from a medically necessary sleep, Captain Sky, you come to see your destination through the window of your captain's quarters as the Meridian patrols the Shroud Mountains. You can remove your levels of exhaustion.
Whew.
Before you collapsed in your attempts, you were not able to reach the Wizard Silence or the Wizard Steel.
Really?
No. You attempted it, but in whatever is happening in the sort of outbreak of war, there are a million explanations for why. I mean, there are no answering machines.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's like if the Wizard Steel or the Wizard Silence were doing anything, then they were occupied. Standing here, you see your sending scroll. You have your staff, your ring, your sapphire amulet, the bottles of your various ink demons, and your life, which you have managed to wrest from the Coven of Elders and the Witch of Wind and Stars. Looking far to the north, you wonder if these storm clouds are not some meteorological effect of that lone witch covering the very top of your world in icy fury.
If I wasn't able to get in touch with Silence and Steel, I would have left word. Was I able to reach Yulia?
I think you awaken with a voice sounding from your mirror saying, "Wizard Sky, I've come as soon as I can." And you can hear Yulia's voice coming from the mirror. I would assume also that you are probably sleeping with your boots on, like ready to...
Yeah, 100%.
You stand up and are once again ready for battle.
I mean, the manner in which Suvi left the palace, she never went back for her effects. So all the clothes she brought for this trip are inside the palace. So she kind of only has what she's wearing right now anyway. So that's fine. Fuck. And I'm gonna try to prestidigitate a semblance, get the sleep off of you, like the crease of pillowcase off of your face, and look like you've been awake for more than 30 seconds before going to the mirror to go touch base with Yulia.
A flash of magic, a jolt of energy. You feel your ring dip into the aerith of the citadel for a moment, giving you enough vitality of the thrum and beat of your fellow wizards to steal the sleep from your eyes and give you some alertness and vigilance in this moment. Wizard Sky.
Yulia, hi. What? Why do you seem stressed?
The citadel is quite agitated and busy. I believe that it is possible that we are preparing to launch an offensive.
Oh, details. 30 seconds.
The forces of Gauthmai that have attacked the north of the Empire have left Gauthmai itself vulnerable in a way that has not been described to me, but may leave a opening for Imperial forces to make a headway in Gauthmai that they have not been able to before.
Gotcha. Ambitious. Okay. And I'm just going to quickly relay Silver's salvo. And just, as I'm telling Yulia, does this look like new information to her?
Give me a insight check.
21.
As you say to Yulia, Silver is in danger, you see a look on her face of this being new information and unsurprising. He is in Abyssin. That is, to my understanding now, Captain Sky, well behind enemy lines. And I think you recognize in the way that she says, "Oh, that's well behind enemy lines," that Silver is a priority to you.
Okay.
I can. Would you like me? I can rush to the Pyrian Dome and try to locate Steel and see if she.
Good catch.
And see
Leave
if
messages. Do not disrupt them.
it's possible. I could petition the Council of Archmagi to.
You think you got that?
No,
Do you want to try anyway?
if you will it.
Can I do one more insight check
Yeah.
on her? 14.
What are you trying to glean?
I just want to see how, this is like an ambition check.
She is eager to make you happy and isn't aware that I think you're in trying to see if she is punching above her weight, become aware that she's not aware if you're punching above your weight. Can you ask the military of the Kemsarazan Empire to prioritize the Wizard Silver? What reason strategically would you be able to give them that is a worthwhile endeavor?
Gotcha. Yulia, I need you to go to Steel and silence and make sure they know that my mission was a success, and it will be only a true and unalloyed success if I make it back, and I'm going to Abyssin. Does that make sense?
It will be communicated exactly as you have said it to me, Wizard Sky.
Good. Let me know when the ships are coming.
Are there any other things you need done at the Tower of the Glove in your absence?
Oh, God. No.
Were you able to apprehend the... I know very little about your mission, only that you were after the Witch of the World's Heart.
Oh. I was able to aid her, not arrest. What do you... Oh. It was handled.
Wonderful. Congratulations, mistress.
Thank you, Yulia.
She bows, and the mirror goes stark as you hear...
Come in, Sworn.
Sworn opens the door and goes, uncanny. Sworn walks in, unfurling parchment on the table in front of you. Our listeners can't see this, but he plops this in front of you. It's a map!
Oh my god, oh my god.
Oh, I get a little map!
Oh my god.
Oh, it's so good.
It's a map. It's a map of the Shroud Mountains.
Fuck yeah.
This parchment is, by and large, devoid of topographical information. It mostly has rivers, roads, population centers. The Shroud Mountains exist at the northernmost part of the empire, right before it goes into the Arctic Circle. The landmass of the continent actually does extend up all the way towards, like, the North Pole of this world is not ocean, but is land. There are mountains in the North Pole. And you see that there to the west is Reimer's Bay, which is where the forces of Gauthmai have landed. So you can see, as Sworn begins to point out, he says, essentially everything to the west of the River Lythwin has been retaken by forces from Gauthmai. Our understanding is that the forces consisting of shape changers and their allies have now been bolstered by reinforcements from House Bahadi. Bahadi is a house you would be well aware of. It's one of the major noble houses of Gauthmai. It's a sorceress house. Bahadi comes from Bahad, which is the Gauth word for nightmare. They don't categorize magic in the same way you do. They would say that they wield the magic of dream or the magic of nightmare. But you understand that they are a house that wields illusion, enchantment, necromancy, conjuration. And when you think about the kind of support that shape changers would need, it seems like that is actually a pairing that would, you know what I'm saying? Like shape changers do not need physical assistance.
Yes.
Looking at the map, you see that the Shroud Mountains move from south to north with a little bit of an eastern trajectory as they move north. The mountains are old and ancient. The tallest peak, Mount Korhai, is very farthest towards what is called the Saluhi Taiga, which taiga is a subarctic pine forest, basically a frozen pine forest. The taiga moves from the northern coast of Reimer's Bay all the way across the top of the Shroud Mountains, and past the taiga where the trees end is where you've just escaped from. That's where
cool.
Where the trees end is where the influence of the Witch and Wind and Stars begins, right? That there is literally a solid point at which the temperature drops enough and the sunlight diminishes enough that the pine trees do not grow, and that is where her domain begins. The River Lythwin is the main river that goes through the Shroud Mountains down to a region, a country known, and countries within the Empire, the borders of country have almost become a little bit irrelevant in this incarnation of the Khemsar as an empire. Like, the countries are just constituent states of this larger empire, essentially. So Some would call them countries, others would just call them regions. Like that's the term you've heard imperial bureaucrats use to refer to them as. And the region to the south of these mountains is Memerajas. The River Lythwin moves all the way from the mountains, all the way down, and Fort Kieran is on almost the exact center of these mountains, and it's right up the river from the coast city of Varric. So the Gauthmai landed there, surged up the river, took Fort Kieran, and Abyssin is to the northwest of Fort Kieran. You are flying in right now. You were headed to the Citadel, so you were way east of here. You see that Sworn shows the map to you and basically says, as we approach the Shroud Mountains, the first place that I have on this map that we could attempt to garrison, dock, resupply would be Fort Marlon. It's the farthest east and therefore is likely to be very understaffed. It'll be a way station, if anything. It's far from the lines. Everything will be, far ahead from there. And if you can see on the map here that I've drawn, that an inch is about 50 miles.
Yeah.
So the mountains themselves are at their widest about 150 miles to 200 miles wide, but they stretch about 600 or 700 miles. Or maybe not even that, maybe more like 350 mile long mountain range.
Okay.
As you fly, he says, flying west as we are, we'll approach Fort Marlon, and directly in our path from there is Mount Korhai, and past that is Abyssin. But everything to the west of Mount Korhai is behind enemy lines, to our understanding.
Okay. Stopping at Fort Marlon, how are we supply-wise? I know we would have made it back to the Citadel, but we're light on armament anyway. What will we pick up there?
Ammunition, we need none, but ration, food supply, we need to resupply.
Okay.
If Fort Marlon may not have anything in the way of information. If we want that, we should advance probably south to Emnel, which is the headquarters of Empire operations in the Shroud Mountains.
Information we have the ability to communicate, so I need someone trying to touch base with anyone around here that can get us up to speed. But let's fly for Fort Marlon. Rations, as fast as we can. We need to go back them up and wait this out. I don't know what will be coming to support in Abyssin, because according to my sources at home, we're going to be pressing our advantage in another part of Gauthmai while they're distracted at skirmishing at our border. So I don't know what resources will be coming here beside us.
Understood. Aye, Captain. We'll make for Fort Marlon at once. We'll wait you on deck. And you see he clicks his heels, salutes, and leaves the map in here with you and turns out to give orders to the rest of the crew.
Suvi definitely takes that moment of finally being well rested and caught up with not panicking about escaping, but she was trained for a lot of this, but in that way that she probably was never going to have to use it. She's not a wartime leader. It's okay. She's smart. She can figure this out. We can win. We just have to not be rash. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. Nothing hasty. Get information. She takes a breath and heads up.
You head up to the deck, see your companions there. You are traveling, the crew you have here are 12 Citadel wizards and then Sworn and Maddie as well with you here. These are not Azure Battalion, these are not fighters with the magic initiate feat, these are true wizards.
Oh, okay.
All of whom have graduated to the Citadel, right?
Yeah.
And then Rasper is on board as well. But again, the Meridian does not fly with... The larger airships of the Citadel will fly with lay people crews, the ones that need like 200 sailors to man them. This is like an explorer vessel. It's like basically like the sort of Antarctic station with the like only scientist. Like, yeah, the person like cleaning the toilets and washing things is also a scientist because we only have room for scientists, right?
Yeah.
As you arrive on deck, see the sort of menacing clouds. Give me an Arcana check.
14.
The color of the clouds is unnatural. You're not sure why. It doesn't seem like there's an active spell effect here, but that is not supposed to be like that.
Okay.
Lou has only been shaking his head at me in this episode so far. It's the one, he's been shaking his head nonstop from the start of the episode.
We've been playing D&D together a long time. And if my man's describing the clouds, you're fucked up, bro. Turn around. If my man's making you make Arcana checks on the clouds, turn around. If he's telling you the number of wizards you have on your ship, turn around.
Wait, you're saying detail is bad?
Detail is deeply bad. He wants you to know what he's going to take away from you in a second.
As another GM, I do know I only get specific when I want to be extremely clear about what's about to happen.
Exactly.
What do I know about the like level and expertise of the wizards that are with me? Do I have a gaggle of nerds? Do I have shooters? Like what do I have?
You know that Sworn walks with a certain degree of swagger that you've only seen in wizards that have extinguished multiple lives at the same time.
Yeah.
He is a combat veteran. He's a sailor. He was on this mission particularly and especially to provide protection to you. It's one of the reasons that he came into the palace with you. Everyone, the rest of the wizards that are on here have seen some form of service, if not active combat. Everyone here has been on the ground, but not everyone necessarily has Sworn's level of experience. Sworn is the only person that you think might actually be maybe as potent or more than you.
Oh no. All right, I have a very high opinion of myself. That did not engender a lot of confidence in this crew. Okay. Everyone, the name of the game is the more we know about what we're walking into, the better chance we have of getting our people out and surviving it. We have payload that we need to get back to the Citadel intact. And at this, I'm going to scan the room for Rasper.
Oh, Rasper's on deck. You see he nods.
Cool. But we are not going to leave our people to die if we can help it. So let's do our best to not fucking help it. How far out are we from Fort Marlon?
Probably an hour.
Okay. We have an hour to know as much as we can. Then we're going to grab a resupply, and we're heading into it. Does anyone have anything they want to put out there before shit gets real?
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
13.
On a 13, no one's an open mutiny, but everyone looks at your command to learn more. They don't know what you mean by that, and they don't know what they are doing here. They have faith in you because they know the mission was just successful, but you can see a lot of people here having an attitude of honor bound to serve, following a direct order. Nothing is unclear about this, but I am being asked to learn about a situation I don't understand. You see that they don't know, They don't know Silver, they don't know the stakes, they don't know any of it. You see Sworn looks to you, nods, and says, eyes at vantage point, one scout in the crow's nest. Anyone with divination spells, cast them.
Suvi does her best to not be that's what I meant.
And you see that there's they fan out. Give me an insight check.
19.
You see it Maddie goes out to the deck of the ship, looks around, sort of confused, casts detect magic. The ground is a mile away. just sort of casts it and then gets us. You can see she almost becomes like physically nauseous standing this close to the edge of the ship, like looking hard at the ground, whizzing by, casting a spell that can't reach that far, that wouldn't provide a lot of information even if it could, just casting detect magic on the ground. And looking over, realizes that she's cast half the spells she'll be able to cast that day.
Hey, Maddie. Come in here, bud.
Captain.
All right. 1. Do you not know the ritual to cast detect magic without burning out your Aerith?
I thought time would have been of the essence.
We have an hour. So I'm going to give you a specific task. And now you have lots of time to cover it, so don't use your juice yet. Those clouds seem bad. I don't have a meteorological explanation for whatever the fuck that is, and I would love to know what the fuck that is before we're inside it. Does that make more sense?
Yes, Captain.
If you can figure it out, that's great. If not, just take a breath, bud. We're gonna be okay.
I'm gonna roll an Arcana check for the wizard Maddie.
Please, Maddie.
She says, on it. You can count on me. And you see that she calms down, opens her spell book, you can see her move her spell book to a page of indices for different arcane words for cloud formations, like cumulus, nimbus, strata, like all that stuff. And you see that she starts to look for like individual clouds in a full blanket of cloud. You see Sworn standing by the door, says, we'll be at Marlon in a moment. Captain, do you want to go over the supplies we need, or is your time better served? I can handle that myself.
No, I'll come with you.
Great. You go over to him, and he begins to walk through basically everything you'll need to requisition. You have a Citadel mark on it, so everything's going to go over just fine.
Stevie's hands are behind her back. She is trying to remember all of the steps of someone who is better at this than her, that like what he is doing to cover his bases and engender confidence with the crew.
You see Sworn walking you through it has the status that he is giving to you as your second in command. You can feel him, like as he walks through everything that you need to requisition. You can see that there's almost something in the energy that he's giving that is acknowledging your youth, and rather than turning it back on you as something that you need to be like apologetic for, feels like someone who's getting in at the beginning of an incredible story. Coming into vision, Fort Marlon, built into the ruins of an old watchtower, you see this chimera of a fortress. Ancient, lichen-covered stone, glacial boulders, granite flecked with strands of pyrite. And on top of that, conjured stone. A wizard created, you can tell that this fortress was created almost as if by pre-selection by some archmage of the Citadel who came to these mountains some generation or two ago to spend a month making 10 and 20 fortresses throughout the mountains. The conjured stone is flat and smooth as the counter of a fine palatial dining hall, and it is slate gray, marbled with sort of a rippling fluid pattern, but has the symbol of the Citadel carven by magic into its vast walls. A landing platform extends from it as the airship approaches, and you see the flag of the Empire and under it the flag of the Citadel, both flying here at Fort Marlon, as a signal flare flies up to announce itself to the Meridian that you are recognized, your banner's red, and you are welcomed to land, that there is safety here. Pulling down, you see two commanders waiting for you on deck with squadrons of soldiers that have been called in to array themselves. You see that there is a lieutenant of the Azure Battalion standing with 4 soldiers behind her, and there is a captain of the Imperial Infantry wearing black brocade, gold epaulets, tall military cap. You can see a war staff on his back that's sort of like a special custom design and make, walks up, and you see to the other side there's the Azure Battalion, but you see that the captain walks up and says, "Captain Bose, pleasure to meet you."
Stevie's gonna shake his hand. Archmage Apprentice Sky.
Archmage Apprentice. Well. Welcome then to Fort Marlon. I am the captain of this establishment. We welcome you. We've been needing resupply for some time.
What?
The supply trains from the east have stopped. We've sent missives down south to Emerald, but are you here? Did you receive our missive for resupply?
I did not.
Oh, very. You see that the lieutenant steps up and says, "You'll have to forgive Captain Bose. He's of a singular focus. I am Lieutenant Katal."
Suvi shakes her hand.
What brings you to Fort Marlon? Citadel business?
Unfortunately, I was here hoping to resupply my own ship before heading on to Abyssin.
How large is your crew?
16?
16. How many days resupply do you require?
5.
You see she looks over at Captain Bose. Captain Bose, shrugs. You see she says, "We can supply 5 days supply for 16. That's not a problem."
I need to make my way to Abyssin to help back up some of our soldiers that are caught behind enemy lines.
The lieutenant looks at the captain and they both sort of say, "You're headed to Abyssin."
I am. What do you know? Do we need to go take this conversation somewhere else? I'm in a rush.
You see that she nods and she's like, yes. If your crew, you see that Captain Bose says, "Austin, go ahead and get to the captain's, the Wizard Sky's retinue and soldiers to start their resupply. You need ammunition and food and water."
Mostly just the last 2, yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. We need all the ammunition we can get. And you see that. Why? You see that. You head out with them. You walk into a courtyard. You see that there are a couple of platoons. Sworn makes a face that you see looks a little bit grim as he looks at the platoons. And you see that they're running drills. The drills look perfectly fine to you in the courtyard, but they're just, running some drills. Kind of, you imagine, maybe at your approach, but you see that Sworn just makes a sour look that you don't know what it means.
I'm going to do my best to cast message under my breath. Okay, what was that face about?
He messages back to you. He says, "Different squads within the platoons. I'm just looking at their uniforms. Very few of the men in this garrison are here with the men they started this operation with."
What is happening right now?
Well, you're looking at what looks like maybe half of a regiment of soldiers made up of what was a regiment not too long ago. And they're learning to do these drills together because they've lost half the people that they learned how to do them with. As you walk, Captain Bose says, "We'll find some private area. My quarters have a place for us to get a look at where you'll need to be flying next, and we'll be able to discuss exactly how likely your mission's chance of success is and what support you might need." You walk along, and you see that at the front of the area, sort of by the gate, you see it says "Scouts returning, raise the portcullis!" And you see that there is a stone colossus, a construct that was originally some 16 feet tall, but you see that it is missing its legs. It was a humanoid shape, It's seated in a wagon, this massive, wooden and iron reinforced wagon. And it looks like just half of a colossus that's being pulled in a horse-drawn wagon. But it reaches up and just by itself begins to pull these massive chains and open the portcullis of the fort as a couple of Azure Battalion scouts on white horses ride in. You see that as they ride in, there are 3 Azure Battalion soldiers with 4 horses. And you see that they have one of the horses by the reins and begin to go up and talk to another commander. You walk into the captain's quarters. Sort of military tables spread out. He's got some maps there. He goes, I was given command of Marlon, I'd say, probably, a week ago, if that. And
Congratulations.
well, thank you. It's a rear position. We're mainly covering the supply train, but the supplies have abruptly stopped. So we have nothing to move forward to the front lines. My understanding is that there's fierce fighting happening on Korhai, the central mountain. Command of that lower part of the ridge is currently between Gauthmai forces and Imperial Advanced Infantry. The Azure Battalion has been instrumental in passing messages, couriers. You see that the lieutenant speaks and says, we have been doing the most we can to help keep communication going in the mountains, but the clouds have made things very challenging.
What's going on with those clouds?
There are debris being kicked up in some of the most heated skirmishes. The debris is possibly intentional, possibly offensive magic. Whether it is unintentional pollution or an intentional act of war, it is obscuring a fair amount of divination and a fair amount of our ability to correspond and communicate magically. The speaking mirrors are working fine. Things that are dedicated artifacts appear to be working fine. It's more the sending spells, things of the like, the things that are a little bit more, well, frankly, versatile. Those are the ones that are a little more fragile. You see the captain says, Wizard Sky, Archmage Apprentice, your mission is your own. You need only ask the Empire for support, and the Citadel will be supported in its endeavor. Abyssin is well behind enemy lines. I'm not sure what forces even remain there, and if they do, they're certainly not announced to myself. The Empire would have, to the Empire's knowledge, Abyssin's been fallen. It has been fallen since the initial attack.
For the first time, Suvi considers a world in which that communication was a trick or a trap. Would I have reason to believe that APB would have gone out to a mirror down here?
Yes, quite possibly.
Okay. Are you aware of, in the last 9 hours, a message from the Wizard Silver in Abyssin? That's what I'm responding to, and it's my understanding that anyone in this area would have also seen it.
You see that they look at each other, and you see that the captain shrugs and says, well, would that we had a speaking mirror here. We would have, but of course, you'll understand, of course, Archmage Apprentice, that even in matters of war, the Citadel's business is occasionally its own.
Yeah.
Is it possible that the information you retrieved is old? Perhaps Abyssin was momentarily taken and I don't know how the speaking mirrors work, but if there was the doors swing open and Sworn runs into the room. Says, Captain! Wizard Sky, are you see he looks at you, looks out and says, fucking Rasper! And you see he rushes out.
Dead spring.
Rushing out through the door, You pass from the candlelight and well-appointed furnishings of an imperial captain's quarters, overseeing an entire fortress in the Shroud Mountains, to under the dim red glow of these strange clouds as your ship vanishes into the red mist and is gone.
Is Rasper headed in the direction of the Citadel?
Yes.
Okay.
You watch as Sworn walks up. You see the wizard Maddie approaches, holding a scroll, holding a piece of parchment, just cream-colored imperial parchment. And you see Sworn walks up and says, "What happened?" You see Maddie goes, Rasper told me to gather my effects, and that the Empire, the Meridian, needed to take off at once. You see that you can hear the captain behind you saying, "What do you mean they're gone?" And you see one of his subordinates is like, the gentleman had an imperial seal, a seal of the emperor. And you see that he says, "So we took our engineers too? We don't have any engineers in the fort?" And you see that this captain is just looking as Rasper has just like hollowed out this fortress and taken off. You see that you see Sworn lay into Maddie, being like, "What were you thinking? Why didn't you stop him?" And you see Maddie goes, and she just holds up this scroll.
I am going to let Sworn unload on Maddie. Because sometimes you need to know the level of fuck-up that you have enabled.
He lays into Maddie and says, "Like you weren't in the room watching our captain tell this Empire rat." And you see as he yells Empire rat, you see a lot of Imperial soldiers turn around to look at Sworn say this.
And I'm going to stare down every one of those black-clad motherfuckers like, as you fucking were.
You see that he turns around and says, "So next time some bureaucrat tries to steal our ship from out from under us, you'll find a spine worth standing up with." And
Suvi agrees.
And he snatches the scroll from Maddie and walks over to you and says, "My failure in this regard."
No, not you. You're good. We'll figure this out. Let's go read this somewhere else.
He nods and turns around. He barks to the other wizards, and you see he just goes, "The supplies that we were preparing can be returned to the needs of Fort Marlon. We'll be staying for some time. Any wizards without a job, see to the magical defenses of this place. Magic detected. Any sorceress, spies, spells, cantrips put on here by those Gauthmai scum, let's draw them out by the root." And he turns around and walks off with you to the shadows.
Yeah.
He unfurls the message and hands it to you.
Yeah. Immediately open it. What does it say?
Archmage Apprentice, Sky. Missive having arrived to me from Imperial magistrates themselves. The urgency with which the cargo needed to be returned to the Citadel was impressed upon me to the utmost, such that not a moment was left to spare. The Meridian will be returned to you within 48 hours. Its commandeering is a temporary one to see this cargo made swiftly and securely put into the hands of the Sword of the Citadel. My understanding is if you require extraction before then, you are outfitted with a scroll of sending and may ask your mother for an extraction whensoever you wish.
I'm going to put that man in the ground with my fucking bare hands. Okay. I'm going to hand the scroll to Sworn. I'm processing a lot right now. We need a game plan. We lost our ship. I lost our ship. I'm gonna go for a walk. I will be back. And Suvi just walks away. She's gotta do a lap. This is too much, and she wants to freak the fuck out.
You walk away. Are you going to stay within the ramparts and courtyards of the fortress?
Yeah, I just need to get out of, I'm not trying to walk into a weird corner and get stabbed in the neck by one of the assholes here. I just need to be able to walk far enough away from the wizards that listened to and trusted me to have a quick little rage cry, because that went so fucking badly. And I know exactly why he did it, but the fact that he punctuated it with my mother, and I know that's a bad reaction, and I'm gonna kill him. I just wanna kill him so much, and I can't. It's that feeling of I think I've been massively outplayed while trying to do the right thing. And I didn't see it coming, and that sucks the most. So can I go cry in the corner? Is there a roll for that, Brennan?
Give me a stealth check.
Oh, thanks.
Oh no.
Natural 20.
Oh thank God.
No, not for that.
What's the secret you took of crepuscular shadow or shadow touch?
The Twilight Crown. Suvi's gonna get under, into the shadow of a little alcove. Someplace where the light is different here. And she reaches towards something in the center of her head. And there is no one else to perceive it, but the outline of, the symbol of a sun, but below a horizon, appears on her forehead. And as she touches it, all of the shadow in this alcove gets pulled to her. And just everything gets a little dimmer and a little darker. And she's not at, a disadvantage seeing in this darkness, but she is holding a little bit of shadow to her for cover to just flip out.
You are perfectly concealed in the moment where your inner life can no longer be held within you. Your body fails as a boundary to hold these feelings, so you call shadow itself to hold them instead.
Oh, God. He's gonna die. Because I'm an idiot. I don't know what to do. Oh, I don't want him to get hurt. And I don't want anyone else to get hurt. Okay. You get 1 minute. And I'm going to prestidigitate a little, hourglass full of the, pure white sand of the Irian in front of myself. And I get 1 minute to feel as bad as I want and wallow and freak out. And my brain begins to reach towards the way I left things with my true friends in the north and being harried down here by the Witch of the Wind and Stars. And that becomes too much, and that's a little bit more than the minute I have, so I have to put that away for another minute later. But we're just gonna feel it really quick, and then go back and try to be better. Because if you're better, this doesn't happen the next time.
The invisibility cloaks you. A piece of magic that comes as second nature. So many secrets you've learned, so much magic that you have been taught to wield. In this moment of feeling like you are coming apart, you also call upon a magic that is not just imparted, but maybe in some way earned. Hidden things, feelings stowed away, secrets buried within your own mind, an amulet hiding you from the eyes of things that would want to hurt you, a name cloak hiding who and what you are and the name that was given to you by your parents. So much of Suvi has learned to hide, and this is a piece of magic that even for one as studied as a wizard comes so naturally. You see Sworn waiting dutifully for you in the courtyard as you approach.
I wipe the sigil, let the shadows return, and walk out. Okay. We need a game plan.
Absolutely. If the goal is Abyssin and we don't have the ship, then time is of the essence, and we'll have to head out as soon as we can. We can talk and see what the issue is if you want, but if you deem we have 48 hours to spare, then we can attempt to spare it. Making it on horseback through the mountains, we would probably get to Abyssin before 48 hours. So if the importance is to get there as fast as possible, we shouldn't march there with the infantry. We should take what we can on horseback. I've checked in with the Azure Battalion, and there are enough available horses.
Okay. You, me, pick your favorite 4. I want to be out the door in an hour. We're heading to Abyssin.
The Wizard Sky, sworn at your side, 4 wizards with you. The Wizard Maddie, 3 others of your crew.
Maddie.
You want to leave Maddie? You can leave Maddie if you want.
Yeah, I'll take any other wizard but Maddie.
Okay, great.
She got half her spells.
Can I get a bitch with a name cloak, perhaps?
Perhaps, yes. You get all name-cloaked wizards with
Thanks.
you from the Citadel.
I need someone who doesn't blow their load shooting a detect magic a mile up in the sky.
As you are getting ready, you see that Lieutenant Catal comes out and says, do you wish for an escort from the Azure Battalion?
I want 2.
2 we can supply. I would have been willing to give more, but if 2 is all you wish for, then yes, absolutely.
Trying to be light and fast. Either there's a way we can help and be discreet getting there, or it's just trying to find out what happened.
If you're looking for discretion, maybe the thing to do, you see, she says, I can provide a couple of tools for you from our armory, especially now that if we're keeping the supplies. You see that she brings 2 small vials of a white substance sort of capped with the Imperial symbol, hands them to you and says, this is a dispelling agent. So if you find a fixed symbol or other kind of arcane trap, this should be able to be applied directly and dispel it. And in terms of moving stealthily, if you feel that you are coming to an area of extremely pitched combat that you wish to move around or through, you see she looks and says, if you have 2, you're traveling with yourself, the Wizard Sworn, 4 others, that's 8. She's like, 8 is actually perfect. And you see that she hands a scroll to one of her 2 scouts and says, at a time of need, you can use this scroll. And you see he nods and says,
Wizard Sky, this will call up a fog to surround us. And the fog can do a little bit more than that if we need it to, but it might not come up.
and you see he sort of smiles and says,
Just if we get to a river, this might help us ford it.
Thank you.
with that, you see that the half a construct opens the gate. Sworn looks back and looks at the other wizards and says, Wizard Sky, do we intend to return here for the return of the Meridian?
Do I have a sense of how long it would take us on horseback to make it to Abyssin?
If you push these horses to their absolute limit, you can make it to Abyssin in about 24 hours.
Okay, that makes it worth it. You know what? Let me go run down Maddie really quick. Let me give her a chance. Hey, champ.
Wizard Sky.
So, if Rasper is accurate in his assessment, he will return the Meridian here in 48 hours.
Yes.
She gets closer and tries to drop a little bit of the, captain of this all and remembers that Maddie is just a year. She's just an underclassman to Suvi. They're a year apart. Okay, I'm gonna level with you. It's been a long, crazy day. Everything in me wants to tell you that when the Meridian gets back, fly to Abyssin to back us up and bail us out. The fact of the matter is, the mission we were assigned to is over and done. And I do want you all to make it home safe. So when the Meridian gets back, lock it down, keep it here, keep it on ice until I get back. I'm coming back.
Yes, Wizard Sky.
Okay?
Understood.
You're doing a good job.
She salutes.
All right, Sworn.
All right. Mount up. Head out. And you see the horses take off through the gate. And as you journey west as fast as you can towards the edge of light, illuminating the red clouds past the mountain's peaks, you see the portcullis behind you rumble closed as you journey into night. Bees buzz in the lawn. The stream babbles, and at a kitchen table, Ame, witch of the world's heart, her fox, the fox, Dr. Yagi, Dauma, the shrine guardian, Elbeth, Henna Mohe, all sit around a table as Elbeth polishes a pair of doorknobs and keeps feeding little spoonfuls of beeswax polish to a lion head knocker who greedily eats it, going into no stomach of any kind. He's a flat knocker and goes,
"Oh, delightful, delightful. This polish is quite wonderful."
It is 2 days since your return. Outside on the road, heading up to your kitchen, coming up from Toma, is Lohan the baker, and next to him, looking a little bit hale and hearty and still unsure of herself, but holding a big armful of a basket full of bread and buns and baked things, is Neef, walking up the road with Lohan, as he smiles and tells her about the village of Toma. My question in this moment is, where is Ame and where is Ursulon?
Ursulon is in the forest by the cottage.
Ame is bustling in the kitchen, creating a couple of different things at the same time and trying not to get them confused. Right now, there is a pot of stew bubbling, but there's also a tincture going on another burner. That one is, it smells of juniper berries and some other kind of savory herb. And there's another experiment going in the sink. Something is being dyed there. It's starting to turn like a pinkish color with purple already rimming the basin of the sink.
Ame, you have been back home for 2 days. The 2 days have been a flurry of activity. Neef, upon realizing that she'd been kidnapped, had a moment of heartbreak and then realized that probably a new and better life is beginning for herself. The spirits are happy to see you. All things being equal, you were only gone for a short span of time in the north. The conclave happened over several days. And then before, it was not nearly as long as your time in the Citadel, right? And but back here in this place, the brass knocker, the lionhead knocker on the table, having been fed this magical little tincture that you and Elbeth have created together out of like beeswax polish, goes,
Finally, I feel myself again.
Okay, so now can we have a little bit more than just, I am the lion that once beheld the witch of the world's heart?
Yes, and I did once behold her, and I behold her again.
Oh, well, thank you. It's nice to be beholden.
I am beholden to know. Well, wait. Beauty is I don't. Well, interesting point. I am the guardian of
These most potent artifacts, these talismans of your station,
the doorknobs of common cause.
these were crafted some aeons ago.
And you see that Dr. Yagi looks over at Elbeth and says,
Aeons? Yeah, I don't think aeons, probably. How long have doorknobs been around for?
and you see that the lion looks and says,
Had you but taken these doorknobs, their use may never have been explained to you. But more than simply being their guardian and able to explain their use, I am also an integral part of the magic of the doorknobs of common cause.
Well, mate, claps a little bit.
Thank you for clapping. It is appropriate whenever I speak.
I'll make claps harder.
you see Elbeth goes, don't encourage this. And you see the fox goes, I don't want to clap. And you see that the lion says,
The doorknobs of common cause are linked, as in fact all beings of the world are linked. The station of the world's heart understands that in each hearth there is an open embrace, a smile awaiting for those that would work together to see a world made richer in our unison and harmony. The harmony of the doorknobs is such that wherever one is attached, the way can be opened to the other.
I can create portals?
Well, only one at a time. But yes.
I can create portals!
you see, says, you see that Dr. Yagi says,
For a woman who's out of town about as much as her predecessor, that seems like a very useful thing to be able to do.
Why did she ever give these away?
as you say that, you sort of smell a like flowery smell out coming from the garden. Give me an insight check.
18.
You smell a deep, floral, rich scent, almost like you smelled in Hakea's garden back in her keep in the Palace of the Witch of Wind and Stars.
The lion says, "Yes, indeed, wherever they are made fast, the magic of the doorknobs will see those two doors linked. Be careful where you put them, because if they're working, then whatever the door actually leads to, you can't get to. Does that make sense? Like if you put it in a closet, you can't get to that closet anymore.
The closet goes to some fanciful location where the other one is.
Yes, exactly. So the one side of the other. So if you put one in a hall closet, if you open it, it'll be one side of wherever the other one is. And if someone's in the closet and they open it and walk through, it'll be the other side of the other
so
one.
Funny, I could put one on the bathroom door and then one in the North Pole. That'd be so funny.
Oh, let me be clear. You can absolutely trap someone with this if you're fast enough. But it takes about an hour to. I mean, they're very finicky, and you have to just kind of destroy the door to do it. You have to take the other doorknob out. So it's not a fast thing. You have to really. I want to be clear. The magic of the Witch of the World's Heart,
A potent and ever-present thing that rewards the craft and cunning of witches.
part of that craft is
Patience, yes, that's right.
patience. Part of that craft is knowing how to install a doorknob. I need to be incredibly clear that you have to actually make the doorknob work in the door. For the magic works on its own, but the doorknob doesn't. If you can't close and open the door, then it won't work. However, this magic is trivial in comparison to when I am included in such installation. For, indeed, if I am affixed to one of the doors, then my name must be spoken, else the door will work as normal.
So I could keep my closet.
Well, I don't think I really belong on a door in a house. You know, I belong facing the world as a guardian. Don't install me on a closet. Please. Just use your head. Doesn't it make much more sense?
No, I know, but you know.
How many guests are you going to be walking down your hallway in your house and need to knock to go to some other place?
My friend, if we are going to be hanging out, you need to learn yourself a sense of humor.
A sense of humor? Why? I am a proud and regal beast, forged in brass, made of magic.
Still, you think that you'd know at least a couple of knock-knock jokes. Okay.
You see the fox goes, woo!
Hype man.
You see the fox goes, got him! The lion door knocker says,
Knock, knock jokes?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure I don't know what that is. There's nothing funny about knocking.
Okay, so have you just been up in the storage closet for a while?
Freezing and unused. That terrible
Awful.
witch.
She, and you see that Elbeth goes, shh, don't speak ill of witches. You see he says,
I'll speak ill of anyone that leaves me under a glass cloche to never be used. I am incredible.
you see Elbeth turns over and says, well, this feels a little bit less significant than, and gestures to the Wand of Covenant that is also on the table.
You see, he says, we're all artifacts. Some of us are doorknobs and others of us are wands of covenant, but everything's magic. It's all magical.
Yeah, the wand can't talk to us.
Well, your
The wand can't
words,
learn.
not mine.
The wand can't learn knock-knock jokes. So I'm gonna look at the wand. I'm gonna study it a bit. I traced my hand over the braided haft of it. Kind of sniff it a little bit. So this makes more witches. Well, this can appoint more witches to the coven.
The spirits gathered at your table, your attendant spirits of your cottage, look at this statement with a kind of reverence and excitement. Even as spirits, they understand that this is something outside of their domain that nevertheless has some deep implications. Spirits are eternal, and there is a fascination that they have with change.
Once there were 13 of us, and then the numbers have dwindled. And I think the strength of our numbers would be, in fact, very useful in these dire days.
Dalma looks at you and goes, well, if there used to be more, and those were brighter times, and it makes sense that Witch of Wind and Stars has just been sitting on it. It seems like she wants that number to move in the other direction. It's a good thing the wands come to you. You see that Henna Mohe goes, speaking as one person that has a magic stick, and he waggles his pole that he uses as his like quarterstaff, the thing he sort of gets, he goes, what's stopping you from going and naming 100 witches or 1,000? Could you just make everyone a witch?
Well, it would at the very least have to be an odd number. But yeah, I could do 1,001 witches if I wanted to, but they would just be part of the coven. I don't think I can make new witches. I can't make new people that are in tune with the spirit world in the same way as people who are born to witchcraft.
You see that Dr. Yagi says, begging your pardon, but even someone that wants there to be more witches on the coven, do you think that... Does it strike you as worthwhile to do, to name every witch that you could find into the coven, or...?
No. I know that the founding of the coven was founded upon disparate elements. Hekea wanted us to be different, so that we would have to be in concord together. And I think perhaps the disparate opinions would prevent the coven from sort of moving as one to amass power as a coven. I think that it would behoove me to seek out new witches to bring into the fold, to create more balance. I think a lot of the witches that had stations involving humanity or really kind of anything useful to help out the spirit and human worlds had been disposed of. I've never really met many other witches besides the Coven.
The knocker, the lion knocker, looks and says,
Many worthy witches are there in the world. I think, at least of the one that I knew there in the north, was not a representative sample. Cold and frigid and hostile. Not able to see true talent in front of her, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Outside in the dusty lot outside of your sort of study door, you hear footsteps, and you hear Lohan say, Is there a witch inside? I have buns and some pastry.
I'm already outside.
Fox out with you. See the other spirits come out. Neef looks up and goes, Mommy, Toma's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful there. There's a lot of I've never seen a town like that before. See, Lohan says, Here we go. And you see he takes a little apple turnover and puts it in your hand. And you see that the fox runs up and he goes, Hey, now, who's this fella here? And you see the fox looks up and says, I'm the fox. And you see Lohan goes, Ah! And sort of can't believe it. And he goes, Wow. He looks up at you and says, you see, he knew Grandmother Wren for so long, but never saw her do like magic like this. So you see a look on his face of like, oh, the generation's changing, these young witches and they're talking foxes. And you see that he says, things are getting kind of, that's a wild thing, Miss Ame.
He sure is.
You see that Lohan looks up to see a small peregrine falcon who's perched on the roof, the thatched roof of the cottage. As the falcon adjusts its wings, a breeze like a hurricane rolls past and shakes the trees and goes, Whoa! Summer wind is getting crazier than I remember it. And you look up at the glamour that the rock is wearing. This, you see that Neef looks up and he says, Yeah, talking fox is crazy. And you look up, the rock is having a hard time fitting on the cottage. It is only because the cottage is one of the most powerful magical institutions on in Umora that this bird is not crushing it under its own weight. Its head towers over the tree line. If this thing was not wearing a glamour, it would be visible from towns over. Dalma goes,
We gotta get you back to the spirit world.
Aww.
The rock sort of settles its wings, looks down at you, so hungry, and goes, this enormous shriek.
From a peregrine falcon.
Very loud falcons in the part of the world that I was visiting.
Lohan goes, That's not too loud. And you see a branch breaks nearby, falls. He goes, Oh, God. I guess we haven't had a good windstorm in a while. The branches are dead, need to fall. You see, he says, Well, I'll leave the bread for you. It's great to have you back. Oh, is Neef going to be staying with him for a while?
That's up to Neef, really.
Neef looks and says, I'd be delighted. I'd be delighted. Do you? I don't know what your plans are, but I know that you're very busy. You're a member of the Elder Coven. If you need a house sitter or someone to look after your house, I'd be so happy to. I can clean and I can sweep and I can dust. And if there's any farm chores, I'd be so happy to do them.
Ame, thinking back to all her childhood spent in this beautiful, wonderful little cottage, doing all the chores and receiving all the care and guidance, and there's something alights inside her heart. She says, I would love for you to stay. Oh my goodness, it would be so wonderful. Yes, there is quite a lot of chores to do here, but we could, maybe in a year or so, help get you started on maybe learning some witchcraft. And
bursts into tears. Just falls to her knees, her little striped stockings, dust. You're so nice.
No, it's just really nice to have another witch here.
The fact that you even call me a witch is so nice. I can't even do one spell.
You're never gonna have to be alone again.
You know,
Oh,
I'm so- You see the fox just goes, let's all cry together. You see that Dr. Yagi looks and says, "Well, there's plenty of chores to go around, but Neef, we'll be happy to catch you up to speed." You see, Elbeth says, "And I'm sure that some of the herbs and of our forest will need some explaining." And you see, Neef goes, "Got it. Well, I have a list of the chores that I did in the palace," and she takes out a small notebook that thunks onto the table. And this one girl was cleaning a palace, and it was like.
Oh, no, that's not going to be entirely necessary. You'll have assistance, from like for instance, see here, I flip it open and I say, chamber pots for the West Wing. We don't have a Western wing to this cottage. It's the caretakers of the cottage will help you, and Lohan will help introduce you to the people of Toma.
Oh. People like the people that are there in the town, I can meet them? What should I say to them?
Well, always a witch is always polite, and it is ready to help offer her assistance if needed. But mostly, you should treat them like your neighbors. Oh, you never had.
Before I was the apprentice of the Witch of Wind and Stars, I was, and I don't want to alarm you, I was aging out of my ability to stay at the orphanage.
Oh.
But that is just a fact, and it doesn't have to make anyone sad. You see that there's just a moment of these spirits looking around, and once again the rock shifts its wings, and another blast of wind comes along as it looks around, so hungry. You can tell it's looking for whales to eat. It's like there's not coastline near. It's like a far flight to any kind of coast. You see the fox looks around. Henna Mohe looks around, and you see Elbeth sort of turns and says, "Oh, my bees are smelling something over in the garden."
I'm getting something as well. I'm gonna go check it out. But yes.
We'll take care of Neef. I'll walk her around. We'll get her settled. We can move her out of the little makeshift infirmary in the library and put her up. And should we put her up? And you see, she gets sort of somber or sad here. She's like, "Do you want your things moved to Grandmother Wren's room?"
Yes. Unless Neef would prefer to stay there.
Oh, I don't need to stay in the main. I don't need to stay in the main bedroom. I can stay in the smaller room.
Well, you go in and you settle into whichever room calls to you.
All right. You see, she walks in. The spirits smile. Fox looks up and says, "Ursulon's still out there. Do you want me to go look for him?"
Yeah, I think maybe you should at least go let him know that it's time for us to help see our feathered friend back home. So maybe he might want to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And also, kind of see if he's doing all right.
Dalma looks over at you and says, "I didn't get the name of the spirit that you had befriended, but you asked me to look for some,
Toph?
Yeah, you mentioned...
Yes. Toph was well, I think he'd like to be remembered as a humble coal spirit, but I think that he was born into this realm as a diamond spirit, and my guess is that he was part of a great horn that was an artifact I saw up near where our lion friend is from. Just a guess, though."
See, he nods and says, I'll look into it. Anything I can find, I can speak to the spirits of stream and brook and see if anyone's ever heard of a Toph who might have been set into some horn." You see the fox scampers off down a pathway that he scampered off now a couple months ago, right after you awakened him to go find the person he's now attempting to find again. Where in the forest do we find Ursulon?
Running. Ursulon is shirtless with Wavebreaker sheathed in his right hand and Ame shield on his left, doing what Steele would describe as conditioning, and sprinting through the forest kind of up to Daomai's shrine.
Incredible. You get up to Daomai's shrine. You've been through the forest and back and running around and sprinting. What are the feelings that are going through Ursulon being back at Grandmother Wren's cottage?
I think Ursulon has been using conditioning training as a way of not processing as much how he feels being here. I think he has not wanted to put back on his glamour for the people visiting the cottage now that Ame is back. He's been sleeping in the barn, waking up early and going into the forest and training. I think that he's returned to the cottage. Like, he hasn't been so aloof. He's not avoiding people, but he is avoiding being in the cottage while the sun is up and Ame is keeping hours.
It's a busy cottage once again, and I think you can even feel something. It's a very different feeling. It's not just because of Ame. It's not Ame is a young witch and that has a different energy than Grandmother Wren. But what you kind of realize is maybe in a way the Grandmother Wren that you knew was in a simpler chapter of her life as well, and that Ame is heading into the most complex chapters of her life. This cottage may be bumping in a way that Grandmother Wren's was when she was a young woman. That Ame has a world of allies to make, a world of friends to meet, a world of problems to solve. Her chapter as Witch of the World's Heart is literally just beginning as she has survived her first conclave. And that means that the energy in the cottage is a very different one. Spirits awakened, visitors coming, Neef here. You walk up to Daomai's shrine. You see the little stone bowl, the statue of Daomai here in this place. What does Ursulon do as he approaches?
Ursulon, charging up the steps, gets to the top. All right. Push-ups. And it's going to do a series of push-ups and planking. Is really just working out in this space.
You have become your time. You've always been strong, but you've been as strong as a strong young man, and you've pushed yourself to a new place where you're actually kind of a pretty considerable warrior. And whether it's the training in the Citadel, all the things that Steele taught you that were in a weird way kind of a perfect, you were an active physical guy, but you also, when you were traveling with Adelaide's caravan, you were drinking, you were partying. There was not a lot of consistency or discipline. Steele gave you all of this intense scientific rigor for how to take care of your body and have it serve you. And then in the Conclave, you saw real combat. You fought spirits. You had to fight to live and survive. And for some reason, that the strongest man in Silbreeze, like a lot of magical things, the more it is said, perhaps the more it becomes true.
I think every time Ursulon feels himself kind of reach his limits, he just imagines himself folding in half as he was consumed by Badze and finds the will to do a few more push-ups.
You feel strong. These trees smell like reflections of the trees you knew in childhood. There's something about being back in a calm and back in this place. And as you do these push-ups, you hear a voice going, "Is everything all right?" You see the fox kind of scatters up the steps.
Oh, fox. I'm exercising.
Oh, great. Do you need help?
No, it's the sort of thing you do. You can do it with other people, but you do it for yourself.
Oh, all right. Boss wants you to know that might be time to say goodbye to the bird.
Makes sense.
I think he's getting kind of sad because he's so hungry. You see the fox looks over, and both of you see blotting out the sky, the bird perched on the cottage that you're like, the shrine is like up the hill from the cottage, and you look and the bird just looks right at you. It's like, it doesn't matter that you're far away. It's a bird of prey. It's like a raptor. It's got incredible eyesight. But then B, it's just, its head is right up there. It's just up in the sky, looks down.
Hello?
Hey, we got to get rid of this bird.
You don't like the bird?
No, I don't like the bird.
The bird saved your life.
If the bird hadn't been there, I would have flown out of there myself.
How?
I don't know, if we found a bird.
And done what? Flown the bird?
I don't know. You see, this is the problem with plans, is you start to pick apart every single detail and, it all falls apart. It doesn't work.
Fox, the day I see you fly a bird of your own volition, I'll eat my hat. Something I've heard people say. I don't know exactly what it means.
If you think you're going to eat your hat before I eat your hat, you're out of your mind.
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, you think you'll eat my hat?
I'll eat your hat right now.
Okay, I'm going to pick up the fox.
Great. Give me athletics versus acrobatics.
We're having different days.
We're having different days from Suvi.
16.
Fox got a 17 acrobatics.
Oh!
He goes, and runs down
This is
the hill.
actually great conditioning. Come here!
The fox tears off into the forest. Ahmed, you walk into the garden, and the flowers sort of part, and you see a buzzing of bees and sort of moths, and a couple of butterflies begin to land on an outstretched sunflower. And as they sort of sun their wings, these beautiful multicolored butterfly wings, they begin to sun them in a kind of harmony, moving together until you see, composed of butterfly wings, Hakea's face smiling out at you.
Sister. Oh, hello, Sister Hakea.
I trust your return to the cottage has been without worry or concern.
Why would you trust that?
Well, it seems like I can feel a sun on these butterflies' wings.
The green and beauty of Toma is never in question, no. And I aim to keep it that way.
Intree has reached out to me, saying that a member of our coven has stolen from her and that she demands justice. She asked that we consider killing you, and I...
Again?
Well, that's actually what I said. It is not a formal rule, but it is at least a part of our decorum that a matter that has been taken up before the council will not be brought up again for at least a year. So regardless of the theft, I sort of dismissed it out of hand. I don't want to consider killing you. We just had that vote.
Thank you.
But she is quite cross with you. Before she moves against you, I said that I would attempt to mediate. She said that you stole the Wand of Covenant. I reminded her that that is not possible, as it belongs to all of us. But she feels hurt that you did not inform her you would be taking it into your custody. Also, did you steal some brass doorknobs and a knocker in the shape of a lion?
Did she say that?
Well, there were a scattering of keys on a staircase and her apprentice is missing. That's what I'm given to understand, and they are gone.
Well, I imagine that she would come to the same conclusion that you or I would, were we to have those pieces of data.
Oh!
Right?
So her conclusion that you stole them is inaccurate.
Well, no, I'm saying why would, if her assistant was missing and there were a bunch of keys and the doorknobs have gone missing, wouldn't you also come to the conclusion that...
Your apprentice had taken.
Yes. It's just my question. Why would she assume that it was me?
Ame, do you wish for Neef to take the blame?
No, I don't.
If Neef takes the blame, her life is...
No, I know.
But...
I'm just saying.
No, far be it. Listen, kill Neef. What do I care? Look, the important thing is just this. If you did it, all you have to do is return them. And if you can't return them, then you just have to give something of equal value.
Equal value. Well, he doesn't know knock-knock jokes, so that kind of dings the value a bit. Oh, it's true. I suppose that originally it seems that the doorknobs were a gift from the Witch of the World's Heart. So perhaps you're right. Perhaps I could gift her something else.
Very well. See it done before the moon returns to its state from the night you stole. That's all. I'll tell her the matter's resolved and she can expect the return of the gift or something equivalent if you cannot return the gift. Is it true that you cannot return the gift, Ame?
I mean, the gift, I feel, really does not wish to be returned.
Oh! Well, nothing you can do about that.
Yeah. Hakea?
Yes.
Do you really think that going to war and, wiping out humanity is really the way to go about healing the spirit world?
Oh, Ame. Give me more faith than that. I've saved the human world more times than I can count. I'm not going to war against humanity.
Well, you're not, but it seems that there are others that in the Coven and in the world that would benefit greatly from Ruve and the Citadel wiping each other out.
Life. In all things, Ame, do I have the utmost faith in life. Forests burn and are regrown. 100 years from now, the vast hosts of people that now live and breathe, the plants that drink the water, the animals that frolic in the forest, they will all be dead. And new animals will take their place in new things. You cannot speak to me in my domain of fear, of change and torment, storm and uprooting. Life will continue after this turmoil is concluded. If you are worried of the fate of humanity, I don't fault you. That is your domain. See to it, little witch.
You know I will.
Your predecessor was wise, but stalled and stalled and stalled for time, and at the end came to a loss. Learn what she could not. I do not know what that is, but it is not my place to, so see that you learn it. And if you are worried about what I might do, then I know you're more worried about what he might do. The road is long and winding, but he is 8 months from your door, little Ame. And she dispels the butterflies as they fly away.
Ursula, rushing through the woods with the fox, you arrive at a clearing with a rotting tree on its side. Fox eventually just puffing. Okay, you can keep your hat.
Nice. We should do this. We should do this more often.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good for me. If you don't mind being chased.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I think I ate one of those breads. Breads are bad for a fox.
Bread?
Bread.
Oh, Oh, is Lohan here?
Yeah. He came up with Neef. Ooh. What is this little place? You see, he jumps up onto the rotten tree and sniffs around.
Ursulan kind of smiles, looks around. Are there still mushrooms here?
You do see mushrooms here.
I'm going to unsheath Wavebreaker and use it to cut one from its from where it's rooted.
You cut a little white cap mushroom.
Fox, this is where I met Ame and Suvi.
Oh, you met them here in this little part of the wood?
Right here. This is where I came from the spirit world into the real.
Wow. Just looks like a nice little piece of woods.
And that's all it is.
That seems odd. This place is special, but you wouldn't know it unless you knew it.
Exactly.
Huh. All right, I'm gonna go back to the cottage. You see he trots off.
I'll meet you there.
Okay.
I'm going to look around. Has much changed since I was last here?
Smaller. You thought these trees were enormous. They're not. They're fine. They're healthy trees. Healthy trees that have been here for maybe like a century or two. Not ancient, not forest primeval, but beautiful. But they seemed enormous when you were here as a child. And the mushroom circle seemed so defined and potent. And you look at it and it's like, oh, there's just a couple little mushrooms that follow the natural dip of this glade. It seemed more mythical and legendary. But you're here now with a magic shield that has your sister's burrow tree on it and the sword of the Wave Lord. And all of a sudden, you just wonder how much legend can accrue on a person before they look at something that was like a dream in the light of just another day.
Ursulan takes a moment in the clearing before popping the mushroom in his mouth, making his way back to the cottage.
I don't remember how often Ursulan's ever gotten to eat one of his mushrooms, but this one tastes good. Ame, you see Ursulan walk up as the late afternoon winds on, and you all look up and see the rock up on top of the cottage.
I've heard he needs to be on his way soon.
I don't really have enough food here to feed him, and he seems like he's ready. Oh, it was really cool, though.
It was fun. Great rock. I'll use commune with beast and leaf.
I hunger. Long have I been ice. That false friend of spirit stole the wind from my wings. I was happy to bear you here, away from her cold clutches.
Brother, I'm glad you are free. Can I ask you one more favor? Would you bear me to my home? It stands near an entrance to our world.
The creature nods and looks and says,
I do not wish to be seen by the beings of this world. When night has fallen, I will bear you aloft, traveler.
nods, and you see as he nods, a feather of his down, like under his wing, floats to the ground, and it floats to the ground with a thud. It's about the size of like a crib. It's like just this enormous, and it's like a small little down feather.
He scurries over.
The fox looks and says, "Hey, your first piece of witch junk."
Oh, witch junk. All right.
I mean, that's the stuff in the cottage, right? There's a bathtub full of armor and swords up in there.
Well, it's all very important.
Oh, may I keep this? I speak with animals. Oh, may I keep this?
She who I bore to her cottage. Yes! You may keep it. It would not have even occurred to me to keep it. I didn't even know it fell.
Ame, I believe I will be leaving with the rock.
Oh,
I will return to Gauthmai and to Kalaya. There is an entrance to the spirit world there that I believe the rock will be able to pass through.
oh, yes. Can I come? Neef is gonna stay with the cottage for a bit, and, I'd really love to meet your family, if that's okay.
Of course.
From inside the cottage, you hear,
And wheresoever you travel, a door shall be open to you to return home. Someone bring me outside.
Who is that? Oh, I don't want to look at him. I still have the scars. You see, there's just a bunch of nibble marks all around Ursulon's right hand.
Let that be a lesson not to tangle with a
You
fearsome
shut the
guardian.
hell up!
You shut the hell up!
So you see, as you get that affirmation, Neef says, "Yes, Ame, I'm happy to look after the cottage for you, and yeah, if you." The lion is shouting, but he's right. If you want, if you can, I mean, and then there's, you have a doorway. If you,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll put out on some. I mean, I suppose it has to be a door. Let me see. What doors do I have that I can? I think there's like probably a extra pantry. Oh no! I'll put it on the closet door in my room.
great. Give me a tool proficiency check. This is actually going to be like carpentry tools.
Oh, that's a 20!
Wait, no, is that a nat 20?
Nat 20!
Nat 20!
Let's go.
It's the best door!
You install one of the doorknobs in your bedroom closet. And as you go in, you see that Neef has picked her room. Her room is a broom cupboard in a...
Neef. Neef, come on.
Please fix this, baby.
Girl, come on, Neef.
Damn.
But you see, so do you move your belongings to Grandmother Wren's room or keep your room sort of by the staircase down on the first floor?
I move many of my things to Grandmother Wren's room. I don't clear away many of her things, though. It's not that the room makes me sad. It's not that it makes me feel her absence. It too feels homey, like part of my childhood. But, well, to be honest, the green man bed was never my favorite. I'm most comfortable in a little nest. But I do leave in my old room maybe the guest bed ready just in case. Just in case. But I create the doorway in Grandmother Wren's closet. And I think in the process of that, I spend a bit of time, a couple of hours, going through the closet and making sure that there's nothing that I need that Neef would need to have access to while it has become a doorway to another location.
You clear out anything of immediate need from the closet, affix the doorknob, take the knocker and the other doorknob with you. As the sun sets, no longer with the bridle needed, the rock, knowing that a way is being shown home, lowers his head as you climb into the massive feathers. Each feather, when you put a hand, like the central spoke of the feather is a full handhold for each of you, the feathers of his neck. You feel yourself able to hunker down under the feathers almost to avoid the wind. This is how big this bird is. You see the fox. You have now you don't need your Arctic stuff. You have new clothes, new gear, cottages all ready. You see that there's a little traveling satchel that Grandmother Wren had for flying with Taro. And you see the fox jumps up into this little like messenger bag over the shoulder flight saddle. Little baby Bjorn. He's like, ready. And Ursulon, you get up there as well. Out in the yard, you see a smiling Neef, Dauma, Elbeth, Henna Mohe, Dr. Yagi, all sort of smile as they gather, almost like waving like an airplane departure. Like, and you see Neef says, thank you again so much. Thank you so much.
Oh, and make sure that your weekly sessions with Doma are you think you do what he says. I'm essentially introducing her to therapy. And the pantry door, it creaks at night. And, self-defense with Henna Mohe is not optional.
You got it. Dauma says, best of luck. We'll see you soon. And all of them wave, bye, Ollie, bye, goodbye.
Yeah! Freeze, wind, as the bird of legend takes to the sky once more.
Vanishing into the night, where its massive form will be disguised as merely a passing shadow between the stars and the earth below. In passing shadow, a wizard that now can call those shadows to herself moves on horseback through the night. You have arrived at the base of Mount Korhai, traveling as fast as you can to Abyssin. You arrive at a location, some trenches dug, fortifications. You see a broken haft of something, a standard. You smell smoke. Sworn gets off his horse. Wizard Sky, this is the path of least resistance. I think these forces maybe fell here, but some time ago. I think they've moved off since then. And you hear, deeper in the forest, I'm going to need you to roll initiative.
That was Lou Wilson as Ursulon, Erika Ishii as Ame, Aabria Iyengar as Suvi, and Brennan Lee Mulligan as everyone and everything else. Worlds Beyond Numbered is edited, designed, and scored by Taylor Moore at Fortunate Horse, with additional sound design from Michael Gelfi Studios. For even more like this, join us on our Patreon. We'll see you there.